Well, it's the breaking on Arise News, and it's time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages of the papers. Let's start with the nation. Let's start with This Day, our sister publication. Ken, maybe you have to take This Day. I don't seem to have it here.
Okay, let's move on to This Day newspaper now. And in This Day, in deft political move, Buhari's men set to dominate incoming APC National Working Committee. This Day, that's an editorial from the paper, Wike, not a man of integrity, unreliable. And riding on national mood, Peter Obi joins presidential race to run on the platform PDP. And Tinubu donates 1 billion naira for the Lagos State University Leadership Development Center.
All right, let's deal with the Nation newspaper now. Convention. Why we chose consensus option by APC. Party to abide by the Electoral Act. President solicits unity among party stakeholders. There's the two riders there. Then just above that, just below the Nation, the logo, you have a dangerous president. But then at the mast, we have reps. Section 8412 remains part of Electoral Act. Race for PDP ticket. I'll have to get Bello to talk about that because the judge ruled otherwise. We'll see what plays out. All right, the next paper.
We're moving on now to the Punch newspaper. And Buhari battles last-minute crisis, summons governors, chairmanship aspirants, fail to agree. Customs CBN disagree over evaluation of import and exports. There's more. The Inspector General distributes 253 trucks, APCs, other vehicles and uniforms to formations. The Minister of Works, Fashola, restates second Niger Bridge 2022 completion date, blames the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra for delay.
Right, in the Tribune, Nigerian Tribune, APC convention, consensus arrangement faces threat with about 4 riders. Governors move to pacify aspirants over Adamu. How Buhari adopted regional stakeholders microzoning. President meets with Tinubu, Akonde, Okorocha, El-Rufai, others. I mean, that's the old guard that formed the APC. Tells NAS caucus to avoid squabbling. Unity list out today. That's coming from the Senate President. And then PDP inaugurates zoning committee. It's good to let you know that presidential aspirants embark on consensus dialogue. Our party has a tradition of zoning. That's coming from the PDP chairman, Ayu. Bala, Ayim, Numbuwal, peak presidential form. Peter Obi declares to run, says, I'm contending to secure Nigeria. Not forgetting that, in the APC file, he says the president has to come and get his candidate to win, that he's not supporting the consensus. We'll talk about all that. But let's look at the top mast there. Political appointees, that's from reps, to steer clear of party primaries. INEC to implement section 8412 of Electoral Act. House says, this is coming from the reps. All right. Silva Irabo Komalafe, one oil feast. And second Niger Bridge now 91% complete, says the federal government. That's from the Tribune.
The international paper is now leading with that NATO summit in Brussels. NATO, the Times, we're looking at the Times. NATO will act if chemical weapons used. And that's according to US President Joe Biden.
I hope they don't get to do that. That would be horrible. Sunak, this is Sunak and Johnson at odds over UK's cost of living crisis. We did tell you yesterday that Sunak has had the poorest are saying, why did you leave us out of what you're doing to reduce cost of living in the UK? That's from the Eye. Let's go to the next international newspaper.
This is The Independent. 500,000 children to be plunged into poverty. That's in the UK.
All right, The Guardian. I don't believe you've taken the Guardian. The Guardian, Biden's warning, just like the Times. The Times was saying Biden's warning to Putin over chemical weapons. One hopes that never gets to happen.
And finally, from the Financial Times, P&O chief confesses sackings were illegal, but says he would do it again. Ukraine talks. Biden turns up heat on China. And Everton owner, well, Shiri is holder of largest stake in Royal Liver Building.
I think we'll leave it there and then go to talk about the papers. Emmanuel Bella, glad to have you join us on Daybreak this morning. Let's start with this day. It says, in-depth political move, Buhari's men set to dominate incoming APC and NWC. We have some riders there. Adamu Chair, Ifeoluwa Oyedele, Secretary Ken Namani, Deputy Chair South. We have, of course, Kiari, Deputy Chair North. And then we have Sule. Consensus will conform to Electoral Act. President Oshibajo, Lawan, others to grace party conference today. The fallout of this, of course, is, you watched it this morning, where Governor of Ekiti State Fahimi was saying, I didn't back the president on consensus, but that the president is within his right. He will have to come tomorrow at the Eagle Square to get his own preferred candidate to win. Put all this together and tell us your sense, Emmanuel.
Good morning, and thank God it's Friday. What this all is presenting is we're seeing a president that is really, really busy. He's had a very busy 48 hours, and some of the results are beginning to show. He's been able to rally his base. He's able to bring the various shades of opinion. I think if I know how these people work, I think many of this has been settled already, and I think they're going to have with a unity list that is going to come out. They will do everything in their powers to ensure that some of those disagreements, if you wish, don't really rear their head. So it's probably a done deal. It's probably something that's been done already. Of course, those last minute back and forth are still there, but clearly what is beginning to emerge from all of this is that there seems to be some agreement around preferred candidates. The president may have his way in many of these things. But again, politics is strange, and a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years like a day as far as politics is concerned. So you never can tell what the surprise, the last minute surprises that have come about. The president have this one locked in and almost locked down, and it's getting ready to present, and of course, the list, the what they call the unity list. It's not the first time we've seen this happen. They do this to stave off all sort of internal wranglings. They agree. Already, the president promising that candidates who bought, or rather aspirants who bought forms, their monies will be returned. Well, that's just the surface of it. But there are other kind of compensations, the unspoken ones that are there. To free nerves, to calm nerves, calm freed nerves, and get everybody on board. So that's what the president will be doing, I think, between today and tomorrow to tidy up the process of calming nerves, of talking to other parties. But the party is showing a great front. For the second day running, we're seeing this picture of a very determined group, presenting themselves as united. He met with founding fathers of the party. So the APC is having it all, is having a very good time, considering what we've been reporting the last few weeks. Seem to be presenting a united front, and a show of force, and you can see that they seem to be really, really ready to answer the PDP when it comes to getting their party leadership right. So we'll wait to see. Tomorrow is D-Day. Almost everyone is in town. Hotels are all filled up. and it's time to watch what's going to happen, whether they're going to have the kind of show, the kind of party they are promising.
Indeed, Emmanuel. Let's look at the opposition still in this day. The president's, the former vice presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has declared his intention to run. Says, I want to bring security to the country. You've had the National Star newspaper, and Southern Middle Belt leaders reject Atiku Tambuwal Saraki. What's going on, Emmanuel?
Well, what's going on is that PDP, it's really also weighing its options, especially as, they're faced with a formidable, a formidable ruling party that has got 19 governors in the north, 8 governors in the south, and I think that's the arrangement now. It's a dominant force that they have to really fight. So when you look at it, that's what Tambuwal keeps saying, that look, the party has to get zoning formula right. If you don't zone this to the north, you don't stand a chance of producing the next president. Voices like that of Peter Obi are saying no, you have to zone this to the south. So Peter Obi is actually pushing for that, but he's running also not only as a candidate of zoning. Just like Tambuwal is saying that, look, I'm not a candidate of zoning. Atiku is saying he's not a candidate of zoning. They are talking about merit. Peter Obi is also speaking about merit. He's looking at his records, what he has done, and that he's been in this before. Then when he ran alongside Atiku was vice president material. Now he wants to do the main thing himself. There are people who are saying, yes, he's caught that image. And yesterday he spoke at a great length, selling his candidacy, who he is, what he's bringing to the table, and of course merit as usual that he can do. He's done this in the past. He can do it again at the national level. So PDP is torn with that. But of course, I spoke to some leaders of the party, and clearly they seem to be thinking that, look, zoning is the way to go. And now, like you said, the National Star is reporting that the Middle Belt Forum, and to some extent, even some aspect of the Ariwa Consultative Forum, saying that, look, they will actually take in any candidate that contest. But Middle Belt Forum coming out strongly to say they cannot understand that a northerner, somebody from the north, will run their party ticket or run the presidency in 2023. So what they favor is they're keeping with the mood of the nation, that is a southern candidate is preferable. Of course, people like Atiku are saying that is not good arithmetic, good calculation, good mathematics, political calculations on the part of the PDP. So the back and forth, and the party leadership itself seems to be favoring what looks like a southward movement of the presidency. Voices within the party also saying that, look, maybe we should actually listen to those who are talking about not winning the zoning, but winning the election. So that argument is still going on, and it's very also spectacular that they are talking about that. Don't win the zoning war and then lose the election. What you need now is win elections, and then you share, you share whatever positions you can find. So that seems to be the mood in some section of the party. So PDP still not yet out of the woods when it comes to the issue of zoning.
All right, two issues. One from the This Day paper, and then one from the Nation paper, under 2 minutes, if you'll be able to do justice to it. Wike's suing This Day to court concerning this publication by the paper on June 23, 2020, with caption, "With a friend like Wike, Obaseki meets his PDP's Waterloo." And Wike is saying that this is portraying him as a lie. In fact, the caption of that says, Wike is not a man of integrity and is unreliable. You will talk about that. And then a dangerous precedent from the Nation. The court verdict on the Electoral Act has all the trappings of a kangaroo show, with Abdullahi Sule, chairman of the Media Committee of the APC, saying party to abide by the Electoral Act. This is so convoluted because this is the law saying this is the way to go, and Reps is saying you can't do that. Those two issues, briefly.
Yeah, quickly on the Wike issue, the matter is in court, but of course already the paper is reporting what happened in court, and in court, these days being able to show, to justify its reports and say that, look, he's fair game for comments because he's a public person. And his comments, his utterances, whatever he says is out there in the public for everyone to view. So, in a way, if you look at the fallout of Obaseki and Wike, you will actually think that they predicted those crises. But those are pretty strong words against the president of Wike. But again, of course, in court, all sorts of evidences were attributed. What Wike said, his flip-flops, over the years, what he said one time, what he's saying now, that actually begs the issue of integrity, questions the integrity of anyone. You say one thing one time, at another time you're saying another thing. And so this is the danger of, the modern time where everything is on record. So you can't turn around and say, well, I didn't say this before, and all of that. So those are issues of integrity. If you're going to be a man of your words, if you're going to be steadfast, you don't say one thing one time and then down the line you change your position just drastically. So back just 2 years ago, this day reporting this matter, it looks as if everything has justified that reporting. With a lot of people actually also, beyond even what this day is reporting, sometimes question how some of the utterances of Wike, especially around issues of power politics. Some people think that is a style of his and that's the way to talk. But beyond the styles, a lot of people worry about the consistency, the decorum and the kind of personality of the governor of a state and how the person should talk, what he should say, and how he should actually engage the public in his utterances. And some people will say in his action too. And of course, the nation reports on the Electoral Act. Of course, those court cases were bound to be, met with all sorts of brick wall, and we're beginning to see that emerging. And people saying that no turning back, but they're going to stick with the Electoral Act the way it is. And you cannot, the courts cannot empower, the judiciary to do the job of the legislature. That is what the dominant views out there is reflecting. So because of separation of powers, simply. So that's where we are, and I think we're going to get around some solutions around these issues.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel.